When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. As always, I am your host, Colleen Biggs, and we are in the holiday spirit over here at Take the Leap. And we are so thankful for all of you all year who have continued to download our podcast and give all of our guests that we've had on here so much love by following them on social media, connecting with them, and of course, taking advantage of so many of their free offers. And don't forget, we are in the season of the 12-week year. So starting on January 16th, all you have to do is click the link and you too will be able to join the 12-week year. And we will be starting that on January 16th. Like I said, imagine if you could reach your goals that you had planned for the year in only 12 weeks. Imagine if you lowered your stress and worry about hitting quarter after quarter after quarter. Well, in the 12-week year, we are going to do just that. So make sure you click on the link below and check that out as we are open for enrollments until we are full. And I also would love to thank our sponsor of today's show, BizBolster Web Solutions. Imagine if you increase the visits to your website to have a consistent flow of new business. BizBolster Web Solutions designs websites and sets up tools that not only attracts new prospects, but also starts building the know, like, and trust factor for those prospects when they land on your website. Through exceptional websites and targeted SEO, our clients are not only found online, but are also able to convey their area of expertise, as well as the what's in it for me to their prospects. Imagine if it was that easy for you to increase sales for your business by driving more traffic to your website. Well, it is. Be sure to visit BizBolster Web Solutions at bizbolster.com to download your free SEO guide and schedule your discovery session today. Well, you guys, I have a big treat for you today because when we're talking about the holidays, most people throw all of their diets out the window, all of their, I would say all of their control that they have around food and alcohol and all of these other things. And they kind of just wing it in December. Why January becomes this, oh my gosh, I have all these New Year's resolutions and I need to regain my health. I need to regain my health and my quality of life starting in January. Well, we're going to start that today so that you know what it is that you need to be doing for your body from now and in the future. And I have a very special guest. His name is Dr. Chris Condon. And I found Dr. Chris, of all places, Dallas, Texas. He doesn't even live in Dallas, Texas. He lives in Arizona, where I live. But he was on a TV show called Stop Waiting, Start Living on Zandra TV as a guest. And so was I. And that's where we met, in the lobby of the TV show. So I'm excited to have him here. And I want to share a little bit about Chris because he's changed my life. He's changed so many other people's lives. And it's important for us to have this conversation. And this is the show that we're going to do it on. Dr. Condon graduated from Life University in Marietta, Georgia in 1999 and practiced for 20 years in Andover, Massachusetts. You guys will hear his accent, so you'll know he's from Massachusetts in a minute, I swear. And he opened 2 offices specializing in injury rehabilitation of the spine and wellness and spinal corrective care. That's right. He is a chiropractor. Dr. Condon is a wellness and health expert leading patients through spinal correction, nutritional guidance, and exercise instruction. He's been a speaker to corporations and various civic organizations and educational institutions as he authorized dozens of articles on health and disease prevention. He's an avid reader and enjoys spending time doing clinical research and reading biographies. Come on, Dr. Chris Condon. That's what you enjoy doing with your time?
Is that too boring or what? Yeah, but I do. I can't. What can I say? I love to learn.
Yeah, I think when we're passionate about what we love, then we don't stall out. I was just telling a client that the other day when she's stalling out, and I'm like, something's going on the core of what you're passionate about, and it's not aligning with what you're doing because you don't stall out, right? When you're super passionate about what you do. Well, you and I, Dr. Chris, we've had conversations about how you're different than other chiropractors. I've gone to chiropractors my entire life. I go in, I get adjusted, I leave. I feel a little bit better. Symptoms come back. I go in, I get adjusted, I leave. Symptoms come back. I go in. I could just repeat this over and over again. Yeah. It wasn't until I found you that you said, let's look at the skeletal, let's take x-rays, let's really figure out what's going on and what the root cause is. Now, you graduating from Life University in Marietta, Georgia, I'd love to learn more about, as you graduated as a doctor, why did you go into this advancement of specializing in this rehabilitation versus, I like to say, kind of the cookie cutter approach of what chiropractors do?
Yeah, well, thanks. It's a great, it's an interesting and key observation, and I appreciate you and your trust in us and the opportunity to get to work with you. And, the thing is when we were on that show where you and I met, Stop Waiting, Start Living, one of the messages I shared there was that I felt like God had called me into this role, and that as he would have it, I get to this school. I didn't even know what I didn't know. And I remember early on raising my hand in class saying, what do you mean all the techniques work? And I kept hearing that. So I said, well, define work. What does that mean? And it kept coming back to the patient's symptom resolution. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because I thought chiropractic wasn't about the treatment of sickness, symptoms, or disease. That's medicine. That chiropractic was about helping people's bodies become more normalized so they could heal and regulate the way they were designed to by God. And that really is the mission. So when I understood that there was this technique that was correctively oriented, that you could actually look at a spine, take an x-ray, recommend a certain protocol, and then take another x-ray, and the person doesn't just feel better, but their spine and nervous system are healthier, and you could have readily observed that. That was really exciting for me. And that's what pushed me into this mentality, which at the time was really rare. I mean, it wasn't even part of the core curriculum at the time. And then I had to learn all this at a postgraduate level.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love your curiosity of it not landing well on you and you wanting more. You wanted more of a description, more of an understanding. And first of all, I think that's a great lesson for all of us to take away, that it is really healthy to be inquisitive and want to know more. And especially when your body's hurt. And my body had been hurting for a long time. You tell me that pretty much the number one thing of everyone that walks into your office, they say, I've been dealing with this pain for years. Sometimes their entire life is as long as they can remember. And they're able to get relief in your center. Now, Dr. Christopher Condon, he's located in Scottsdale, Arizona. So anyone who's in Arizona, this is a great place for you to attend. But even if you're not, he has YouTube channels. We're going to share how you can connect with him on Facebook. He writes a lot of articles like we talked about. So there's a lot of education here for you to learn. But being in the center that you're in today, I know you and your wife moved from Massachusetts to Arizona. And why did you make that move from being on the East Coast to obviously beautiful Arizona?
It doesn't get any better. It's like now when we think about taking a vacation, it's like, what's the point? I mean, this is perfect, but no, I mean, there's so many great places in the world to see, but the desert is a special place, at least for us. And I think a lot of people feel this way. It feels like a spiritual place. And I don't know why that is. It just is for us. And we came out here on vacation back in the early 2000s and fell in love with it and just thought, you know what? I remember actually being moved almost really to tears one day as we sat by the side of Camelback Mountain and contemplated going back to the Northeast. And I thought, oh, this is just, I can't believe how I feel. Like this felt like home. And so we said, well, someday we'll retire there. But then I think for a lot of people, including myself and for us, COVID really accelerated that thought process. It made me think, if something can happen to me this way that's really out of my control, then the least I can do is bring some resourcefulness to the table and say, okay, well, what do I do now? I mean, because I had lots of options, right? I could sit there and just rebuild. And we did that for a while. And then I thought, well, I already know I can do this. So why don't we just do this wherever we want to be? I mean, we've already proven to ourselves we could do it multiple times over. Let's go and do it where we want to live. And just celebrate life. You know, like work is something that I love, and I love what I do, but it's a part of my life. And I share that with patients. It's like, I don't look at a patient like a patient as much as a fellow human being that I want to help and serve and love and give to, and see their life improve. That's what drives me. So doing that while I'm still young enough and we can practice and enjoying practice here that was the goal.
Yeah, they become family to you, because I see
really
Allie
do.
hugging people when they walk in the front door, and Allie's your wife, and she's, at the front desk greeting everyone. And so I can tell that you guys are family for so many people. Okay, well, let's get back to kind of the non-surgical approaches that you take for spinal decompression. You've talked about spinal corrective care. You utilize some of the most state-of-the-art techniques and technology. Tell me more about that. Has that made it easier for you to accomplish what you're looking to accomplish with your clients? I think it's, I guess I have to bring this up. The chiropractors in my life that I've gone to in the past, I feel like they were stuck in the 80s, like still had the same tables, still had the same, rollers. It was just so dated.
Yeah. I mean, I want to be, thanks for that. I mean, the thing is I want to be respectful of the fact that there's a lot of people in the profession that have really the best intentions, and they bring to the table a lot of great education and techniques and experience. Yeah. And really one of the beautiful things about chiropractic is that it's so simple. Like a lot of truths, it's simple. And if the application is what varies. So, you might go to one office and have a certain experience, and then go to another office and have another experience. And to the degree that it almost seems like different professions, the thing that makes us unique is really that the intention is the same among most of us, right? We want to help the body heal more naturally on its own, and really focus more on not adding or subtract or taking body parts out or whatever. It's really about removing interference to what God gave you. That the approach that we take is what's different with the techniques and technology. And so with chiropractic biophysics, that technique of restoration of normal spinal curves from all dimensions, whether we're looking at the spine straight on or from the side, looking at excessive curves or reversed curves or scoliosis, different things like that. There are actual adjusting techniques that we can employ and bring in what's called non-surgical spinal decompression. And we use the Spine Med, which is the most sophisticated equipment of its kind. And it's a patented direct restraint system. So all these other machines that patients might lay on to gently distract the spine are using whole body harnesses and pulleys and all this stuff. And this machine doesn't do that. It's a very gentle positioning where we put the patient on the table, and the table affixes to the patient's pelvis or to the base of the skull. And we're very gently distracting those joints to alleviate pressure on the nerves, the joints, the discs. And it really confers a more permanent change that we can observe again on follow-up imaging. So we use that. And we also use class 4, the Sumis Horizon laser. And that's another technology and equipment that we have. And we're the only ones in Arizona with either the Spine Med decompression machines or the Sumis Horizon laser. So we invest a lot in research and understanding and application in the technology, because we really want to be the best and provide the patients with the very best opportunity to get recovery.
Yeah. Yeah. And since we're talking about regaining your health, who is an ideal patient that walks through the door at your center?
That's a great question. We know that we want to help everybody. And most people come to us and they have a symptom complaint, right? Like they're not coming in saying, I feel awesome. Just, no. I want to stay that way. Right. That would be amazing. But it's really like the typical patient that we're going to help is coming in, and most of them are over 40, 45, 50, something like that. They have some miles on the odometer that maybe from older injuries that are becoming chronic. that they can't shake. And, I always say you can't have a big ego and do what I do. You have to realize that I'm often going to be the last choice, the last resort. They've already done everything. Mm-hmm. And, it's not like I think that I'm the only one who knows what I'm doing. There's lots of great practitioners out there and providers, but it's just the approach that we take that's so unique. And so I think if we can find those people that have those degenerative changes, that have tried lots of other options, that really want to avoid surgery. They have stenosis, sciatica, bulging herniated disc. One of the newer things that we're doing that's got like a 90% success rate is a specific protocol to treat patients with peripheral neuropathy because they're diabetic or post-chemotherapy. And there's a whole special protocol for that. So we think that those are the people that maybe they're stuck, and they really are desperate. They don't want to keep taking drugs and they're afraid of surgical intervention. We can often help.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing is, the way society and culture has set everything up today. You can go on your phone, order from Amazon, boom, 24 hours, it's here, right? You can go on, you can post something about what's happening in your life and immediately people see it on social media. There is this sense of immediate relief that happens in society. So that's why I feel so many people are running to surgeries, because that's an immediate way that I'm able to solve my problem. But essentially what happens is, for almost everybody I've ever known that's ever gone through back surgery, it causes a lifetime now of other problems that they're dealing with.
Yeah, that's a great point. And, it's not like, I always want to preface things like, I am not categorically anti-medicine. I am not anti-surgery, but I am anti why would you do anything that invasively first? So if, and in fact, the literature supports these things that we do, yet the problem is most folks are going to go to their primary care. They're going to get evaluated. They're going to be referred for these musculoskeletal conditions to physical therapy or something like that. And then if that's not going to be enough, they might see a physiatrist, a pain management specialist, someone who's going to do injections and cortisone and something that's actually degenerative. And then if that doesn't work, then surgery. So we're not even on the radar. And so sadly, many people never learn about corrective care chiropractic, non-surgical decompression, and the class 4 laser, and what these things can do that are actually regenerative. And so it's not like, again, we're not coming in just to treat the symptom. We want to help the body adapt again in a more positive way to make physical changes and that are going to last. That's the idea.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many people, when I told them about the neck pain I was having and the shoulder pain, they said, have you gotten a cortisone shot? I have gotten one of those one time in my life, and it was the scariest thing that ever happened to me. And the lady was like, so if you need to come back, I was like, you'll never see me again. It was the most painful thing I had ever done. It was so, to me, so invasive that working with you is so easy through. And I have to preface this by saying, I really do feel sorry for Dr. Chris, because I've had multiple injuries on my left shoulder, and I have a few miles on my odometer now. And now it's rearing its ugly head to say, no more, this is, and I feel better already. I mean, there's so much improvement that I've already had. And I was doing massages and chiropractic, and I was doing this multiple times a month until I found Dr. Chris, because I would say I would get a little relief, then it would just come back. Then I would get a little relief, and then it would come back. And that was kind of the cue for me to know that it was skeletal. And then, of course, when we looked at my x-rays, then we knew for sure what was happening.
Well, and Colleen, I don't know if you'd agree with this or not, but my perception has been that, and to go back to what you said a minute ago about people's expectations and how we're a kind of a quick fix society. And it's reasonable, I think, for patients to think and feel that way, because that's what we're programmed for, if you will. But you were looking for something else. And I think my explanation was convincing enough that you gave it a try. And even then, with the best attitude and intention on both of our parts, would you agree that it took you the better part of at least 4 weeks or so to really start to go, oh, yeah, this is starting to change?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah,
right?
no, I'm a very committed person. Everyone on my podcast that's ever heard me speak knows I lay it out on the line. I don't apologize for loving God or having him in my life. I'm very open and honest about my opinions, and when I commit, I commit. And so I drive 40 minutes each way to get to Dr. Chris 3 days a week. 3 days a week. And that's not easy to commit to, but I'm committed to my health and regaining it because I have a quality of life that I want to live. And I think that's the most important message we can send today, because when I was 40 years old and had ACL surgery, they were like, do you really need the surgery? Because what level of quality of life are you looking for? How active do you want to be? I was like, I'm 40. I'm barely even halfway through my life, if that. Yeah. And you're asking me if I still want to be active.
Yeah,
I'm not ready to expire, you know?
It's incredible, right? And so you reframe, we all have to do that, like reframe what our expectations are for our health and life. And, you know, all of a sudden, it's like you realize that when you commit to a health strategy, not just I'm okay because I feel okay, I'm really going to push the limits of what's possible because my genetic potential is so unbelievable. Like, I think we barely access it.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're a great example of that commitment. And we don't take that for granted. I mean, we're so appreciative of your effort and the patients that come in here. We know that it's a huge commitment, and we just hope and pray that people will be a little bit patient with their bodies, give the body a chance to adapt, and then they'll see, oh, okay, now it's not this merry-go-round where I have to constantly go back to zero.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think people realize it takes your body years to get to the point where it starts. The pain is chronic. It takes years. And that does not happen overnight, right?
That's sure, right?
Yeah.
In all disease, it's the same way in every disease there is.
Yeah. So same with cancer, same with everything, right? Diabetes, you name it, on and on and on. So to think, well, it's of type 2 diabetes. So to think that if you could turn this around in one day or one visit, it's a joke. You absolutely can't do that. You need the same progression, but our bodies, God gave us bodies that were meant to heal naturally. And so I love that approach of yours. Of course, I'm not going to say that, you know, ibuprofen and ice hasn't helped me along the way with some of the major pain that I've had throughout this process, but it's been wonderful. So, Chris, I know many of the listeners right now are thinking, they're bummed because you're not in their state, you're not in their city, and they can't come see you. But I know that you educate. And so you educate on a lot of places. They can go to allyspinecenter.com. I know that's a good place. What are some other places they can connect with you that you guys are playing in today?
Yeah, they can check us out on our Facebook page too. Ally Spine Center. And then they can certainly email us, shoot us an email, call me at 480-809-4700. I'm happy to get on the phone with anybody, wherever you are in the world, and consult with you and help direct you to somebody in your area that perhaps can help you meet your goals, because we know that ultimately, you know, we can't be there for everybody, but we can at least kind of make that direction. And I do that as a matter of routine. That's something that I love to do, because it's about the person. It's about that person's life. It doesn't have to be about me. It's about making sure that they get what they need.
Yeah. And, I know that Dr. Chris Condon also is a speaker. He speaks on a lot of stages in the medical practice industry, as well as in corporations, in educating employees, right? It's so important, especially for healthcare costs today, and them being so expensive, to giving advice and sharing with others what we can do on a regular basis, right? To keep our bodies aligned, to keep our spinal, skeletal aligned, and stretching and all those, types of things. And I know Chris is an avid gym rat, and he takes care of himself, which is really good, because if I walked into the door and didn't see that, I probably wouldn't have believed him about how serious he takes health. If you want to regain your health and your quality of life, the messages that we shared today are real. Your body takes years to get to the point it's at today. And it's going to take some time for you to regain that health, but you have to do something about it. You can't just sit back and hope and wish and pray.
Yeah. And I would say that with that said, I'll tell you one of my favorite quotes by the developer of chiropractic, BJ Palmer. He said, your innate, in other words, your innate intelligence knows more in 1 second than your educated does in a lifetime. And so if you just focus on removing the interferences, the physical, the chemical, the mental, emotional, the spiritual, right? And just free up your body, your mind, your spirit, your soul, right? Whatever it is, then your body already knows what to do. The genius is already there. It's really not more a matter of just remove the interference. Your body will take care of itself.
Yeah, well, that was a beautiful message. I think we're going to end on that note, Dr. Chris. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tom.
I just want all of you to remember that you're the only you that's ever been. You're the only you that will ever be. So it's your responsibility to take care of your body, and your health and your quality of life will be what it is based on what your behaviors are every single day. So remember that as you approach January, as you approach 2023, how do you want your quality of life to look like? How do you want your health to look like? And if you are struggling with chronic pain or many of the things that Dr. Chris talked about today, I suggest you reach out to them and go visit allyspinecenter.com and have them introduce you to someone that might be in your area. And if you are in Arizona, then you need to give Dr. Chris a call at Ally Spine Center. So Chris, again, thank you so much for being with us. And to all of you, thank you for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful, happy holiday with your family. Please be safe out there, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
We hope you enjoyed our show today, as our guests shared their secrets on designing their life by taking the necessary leaps to expand their influence and attract the right people and clients into their lives. To start these easy steps for yourself, be sure to visit www.colleenbiggs.net/freebies to download the 7 ways to increase your exposure today.